What's up, everybody? We got Cliff Notes, powered by Hoop Jargon, back for another dope interview. I got my main man's out here, Alvin Brooks the third, man. AB, what's up, man?
Not much, man. What's up, man? I appreciate you having me on, bro. I really appreciate this.
Man, absolutely, man. I appreciate you having me as a host for you, brother. So I mean, I want to get in first, man. Again, I believe in giving boys the flowers while you're still alive, while you're here to accept them, man. And so you getting that accolade for being one of the top 50 high major assistants in NCAA basketball, man. I just want to give you straight up kudos on that, man. How you feel about that?
Man, I appreciate it. It was kind of, I had no idea about the list. I started getting text messages saying congratulations, congratulations. And I'm like, congratulations on what? And eventually one of my friends sent me the link and I was like, oh, so I looked at it and I was like, wow. Like I read it and I was like, wow. Like, and to me, it's just a testament of I've been blessed to be around a great staff and great student athletes, and as well as talented. Anytime you're on a list like that means you've been a part of a lot of successful teams, and so it definitely ain't just me. It's the people that I'm around.
And that's good, man. And I love your humility to start off. Your humility is showing that, instead of can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I got a little too excited, man. My mic flew out. But because it's a culmination of everything, man, to get your personal accolades, and so that's good to see you humble in that respect. That you understand you're a part of a whole, but at the same time, I'm a big deal a little bit.
I've been blessed, man. I feel like I have a little input. You know,
got a little input. I ain't mad at it, brother. All right. So I mean, let's attack the elephant in the room, man. What's been going on with a lot of coaches is something that's not normal from protocol. What's not normal of what you're used to doing. So, man, just tell us how the Baylor basketball men's team is doing with this COVID-19 situation, bro.
First it's difficult in a lot of different ways, just because we all have we have family members that's being affected by it, and so that's foremost important. But and then you get to online classes, like our guys. All of a sudden, we were in spring break when it happened, so and we were actually in Kansas City ready to play a game that same day, and so to have your season ended and then you come back and everything is not normal to where classes go online, and just having to adjust to that. And so, we try to spend a lot of time communicating with our guys. We actually blessed to have an associate AD for mental services. And so she contacts a lot of our guys to try to make sure that they, you know, stand on point and make sure just if they have anything that they worried about that, they can talk to her about it and she could kind of help guide them through it. And, we kind of do the same thing as coaches. So it's definitely been something that I think nobody could be prepared for. But I think Doc Rivers said it. Let's win the weight, and so that's one thing that we're really trying to do.
I think that's a beautiful thing, man, because a lot of people don't understand the human element of all this, man. Like all this time you put, I mean, especially the high major program, man, like the preparation, the buy-in, the all things encompassing, and having it snatched from you, man. It can do a lot of things to you that a lot of people just don't understand. That I don't care what you say, when you're 18 and 22 years old, that's your everything. That's your world. To have that snatched up under you, who knows how that affects you down the line, man.
And not just, I mean, like I'm 40 years old and this is a special group. Probably not just because we won a lot of games, but because of the people that they are. Like the day that we found out that we weren't going to be able to play anymore, we met in a ballroom and, Coach Drew broke the news to our guys. And I mean, that was tough. That was tough. And, we talked. And when I started talking to him, I broke down and cried. And I've never cried at the end of a season in my life, as a player or coach. And so, just looking at those seniors and knowing that they draft aspirations may be affected by this, because
absolutely,
if we go to the Final Four, that helps their draft stock. But now it's just kind of up in the air because now you have no workouts. they doing interviews over Zoom, so you really can't get a feel for a person as much, as if, I was talking to a team yesterday, NBA team yesterday, and they said it's affecting them because they normally have the scouts talk to every single body in their organization, but now you can't really do that over Zoom and get a good feel for the person.
Yeah, I definitely can see it taking that impersonal, relationship down. I mean, even like from a recruiting standpoint, I mean, you want to be in the living room talking to the mama, see what kind of stock the kid is from, talk to the pops, talk to the uncle, you know what I mean? You want to see what you sign up for.
Yeah.
So, and that's just, from a scholarship standpoint. I can only imagine from a professional standpoint where you ready to shell out millions of dollars to this kid and not getting that intimate feeling, man. So, yeah, I really feel for those brothers, man, out there, man. And so, well, I'm sure your players are holding up strong. You got some prominent players I'm sure the pro scouts are looking at having one of the more successful teams out there. So I'm sure they're keeping their head up with this going on, right?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, you got, like you said, man, these kids, like, they 18, 19 years old, 20-some years old. So the biggest thing for them is just they want to get in the gym. And, they can't get in the gym. So that's something that they're really struggling with. And so we're just trying to keep them to understand the bigger picture. And, we have 2 of them testing the water right now. And
Okay.
so they go through the process. And so we've had guys that's actually, they work out in the parking lot of our gym just with cones and a basketball. And so, they doing well. We go by and check on them quite a bit just to make sure that they're doing all right. But, I think the classes, finishing the classes strong is going to be the most challenging part for them, just because they're not able to see the teacher face to face. And a lot of guys kind of need that interaction more than just, the Zoom.
Agreed. Coming from somebody who got half of my degree and my master's degree online, it is not the easiest thing to do in the world. So I know the struggle, bro.
I mean, you really gotta be like, you gotta online, you gotta be on point. And
Yes.
and we have, it's hard for us because we have Coach Drew divided with us to take certain players, and so now it's online, like we involve more than normal. And so we constantly like, bro, you got to finish this assignment. You got to finish it. And like, I'm in Waco, and that kid could be in like 300 miles away. And like, if they don't answer the phone, it's like, what can you do?
Yeah.
So, and and most of the time they not with their parents because they with their girlfriend or they working out with a trainer or whatever, So it's definitely been a challenge.
And that's why I respect so much about the coaching field, because like you said, what can you do? Because as we all know, if they don't do their classes and they ruled ineligible, what's going to happen with the whole program? Oh, well, the coaches wasn't sent out there. They wasn't making sure them kids. So that balance is tough, man.
Yeah, I mean, people just see the end result. They
Absolutely.
don't see the process that it went through to try to help that kid. They just see, okay, the kid didn't do this, then it's the coach's fault. And so, it is what it is. I think we kind of embrace that, and we just make sure that, deep down in our heart, we know that we do everything we can to try to help them.
And that's all you can do, man. And what I say is one of the most disrespected parts of a high major program, or even mid major to low major, is the assistant coaches. Like, you do all the grunt work. You do the stuff that
Yeah. People have no idea, man.
No idea, man.
When we're on the court, that's actually the easiest part. The games are
absolutely
not easy, but it's the easiest part of our job.
It's easy because, again, man, one thing, man, shout out to my former coach, Coach Rim, man, is, a lot of, I've seen through the time of me serving under him, playing under him, is a lot of people got a lot of opinions about his decisions. And I'll give Talvin a lot of credit for this. He was like, man, it's easy to have all these critiques when your opinion ain't the governing opinion. It's very easy to critique it.
It is.
Yeah. So to your point, yeah. Go ahead, Evan. Go ahead.
We talk about that all the time. Like, we actually we do a Zoom call where we helping coaches, like, it's over 100 coaches a night, twice a week. And a Big 12 head coach was on the other day, and he talked about that. he talked about, he even took it further as to saying, like, even calling a recruit. Like, if you have one assistant coach telling you to call this recruit, another assistant coach telling you to call this recruit, then the third assistant coach saying call this recruit, but then the strength coach calling you because somebody acted out in the weight room. So now you
gotta deal with that.
then academics call you saying such and such missed 2 classes today. What you gonna do with that? And then you get home with your wife and your kids. They like, all right, time to spend time with us. And you go back the next day, and the assistant coach say, "Did you call?" And you like, bro, I ain't get a chance to call. Like, for that assistant coach, that's the most important thing in the world. But for the head coach, he's trying to juggle 6 things at a time. So
Absolutely.
it definitely woke a lot of assistant coaches up in that room. Like, man, I need to chill with my boss.
There you go. There you go. And I mean, I think one of the most things that constitutes people being effective is understanding all the manifestations of their work. Like, so if you're an assistant, I get it. You can easily get in that tunnel vision, like, hey, I'm doing my job. But you're not understanding the totality of the head coach who has to preside over all this. It's not so easy, man.
Not, man. It's not. I'm on a way smaller scale. I'm starting to get that now. Like, because I started this Zoom call called Be Ready.
Yeah.
And like, we started it, man, like it's been, I don't know how long we've been in this, been out, but we have the 12th one coming up. And it's like, it's crazy because like it's helping so many people that it's growing to where like everybody is throwing me ideas and everybody is telling me, oh, you should have this person as a guest, this person as a guest. You should do it like this. You should do it like that. And all the suggestions are good, but at the same time, I'm like, man, I got to do what I feel like is going to help us all. And so it's kind of, I feel like I see how Coach Drew feel when we had a timeout and I'm telling them, all right, we should run this play. Coach Tang is saying we should run this play. Coach Jake is saying we should run this play. And he probably be 3 different plays. And now he got like 15 seconds to decide which one he want to do.
Yeah. Facts, man.
So it's definitely being a head coach, like you're saying, man, it's definitely different. I think a lot of people, take it for granted the things that they got to do and deal with.
Absolutely, man. And I've seen, situations where the assistant coach can overstep their bounds, and this could be to their betterment or the detriment. And most people don't see that as an end product. They just see, oh, did they win or lose? Who's the head coach? All right, that's why I need to browbeat. But if you see the intricacies of what goes on, like at the halftime adjustments or just on the bench, it is so much that goes into it, man. And I think a lot of people need to give a lot more kudos to assistant coaches because I get it. If the coach wins, it's all the head coach. But most people don't, who are astute enough to understand that all that stuff, all those voices in your ear, the comment of your bench, the comment, like, man, when I was coaching at Prairie View, the assistants just calming down. I won't name names. Our best player, all conference player. It was a miracle just to calm him down. Who's my friend? I won't name him. Just to calm him down was a job in itself, man, because he would get going and everybody's an MFer. Everybody is a bum ass, you know what? You know what I'm saying? That in itself was a job. And if people don't understand the whole symphony that makes the beauty of what a whole coaching working group is.
Most of the places I've been that guy that have to do the calming. So I definitely
I see you, John Lucas. Mo Cheeks.
I definitely understand, man. But it's I feel like that's the the beauty of a staff is like you have so many different personalities, and so eventually you're gonna have somebody that could calm somebody down that somebody else can't.
Absolutely.
And so like every relationship is gonna be a little deeper because
absolutely,
I feel like I can get along with anybody, but I ain't as close to every player that I coach. Like some players you just form better bonds with. I mean, we both, we all love each other, but at the same time, when something really, really happened, every player don't come to me and tell me what happened. I think we've been blessed to have a staff to where, different guys have an opportunity to go to different people.
There it goes, man, and that's why it's so it's so important for a head coach to understand like all those moving parts about hey, I may be deficient in this area. Let me bring in a guy who's good at recruiting, talking to people. Because you know how it goes, man. So many coaches are introverts. They don't really want to talk to the masses like that. So you bring in your guy who's your pretty much your salesman. You bring in your guy who's your mental, he's real good with focusing everybody's attention to work towards the whole. Maybe you're an offensive guy. You bring your defensive guy in. So that whole conglomeration of guys, man, is so important, especially on the high major level, man. So I know, you have a number one, experience, thing with this, brother. Like, and so I definitely, commend you on what you ever do.
Appreciate that. It's definitely. I mean, I don't look at it as a bad thing. I actually like it because you're getting a chance to impact lives. So
absolutely,
to me, it's better than having a real job.
Man, I left coaching about 10 years ago, man. I mean, mattress firm pay good, but God, dog, I did way less work coaching, man. If I could have finagled and got it, I envy y'all, man. Trust me.
I'm sure you probably got a lot more free time, though. So
well, now I do. Well, yeah, overall, yeah. But okay, fair enough. Good point. All right, so man, so you on point. You knocking it out the park like I knew you would. So I want to talk a little bit more about you, Coach. So tell us a little more about your pedigree, man. Like, so what got you to the point to where you are now? I know you played at Midland College. You played at Idaho State. Talk a little bit about your playing career, and then we'll go into how you got into where you are now.
Originally from Houston, Texas. So I play H-Town. So I played high school in Houston. Played at Yates High School. Then I played at Katy Taylor. Then, like you said, I ended up going to Midland. Went to Idaho State. And, my dad was actually the head coach at University of Houston when I was in high school. So I thought, like, me and Rashard Lewis, that's my brother. Like, he's the best man in my way.
Respect.
And we, I kind of had it, we had it planned out. We was going to go to Houston, go to the Final Four, have the city like on.
Y'all would have 98. Y'all would have.
I wasn't gonna ever leave the city ever in my life. And then they fired my pops and just tore my whole dream down. So
man.
I went to Midland, went to Idaho State, and man, I never wanted to be a coach because my pops has been a coach, so I never wanted to be one. I actually have a finance degree, and I have a master's in athletic administration to be an AD. And so I tried both of those. Wasn't happy at all. I was miserable. And so I called my pops, wanted to get into coaching. He said no. Call me back in 2 weeks. So I called him back in 2 weeks. I started off coaching at junior college. After my second year, we won a national championship at Arkansas Fort Smith. The following year, I went to Midland Junior College where I played. We won another national championship. So then I was blessed to go to Bradley University, Division I in Peoria, Illinois for 3 years. We went to postseason 2 out of 3 years. Then I went to Sam Houston for 2 years with Coach Hooten, helped him kind of build the foundation. It was his first year as a head coach. Then went to Kansas State for 4 years. We won the Big 12 championship, won a lot of games, couple pros, and then came to Baylor. And, I mean, we've had so much success in 4 years that it's crazy. We've broke so many school records. We've been number one in the country twice for the first time in school history, 2 different years. Had a couple pros, and, I mean, this year we broke the Big 12 record for the most wins in a row with 23. And, I mean, we were on track, in my opinion, to win the national championship, but, it is what it is. But, I mean, we were ranked number one in the country for the longest since 2015. So it's definitely been a blessing to be around great people and talented people. So that's kind of my coaching career in a nutshell.
There you go, man. And I'm a little salty. I ain't gonna lie, man, because y'all are over my Texas Longhorns, man. And, that whole near and dear. Even though they gave me one of my worst whoopings as a player, I forgive them for that, man. They had, it's business they had to take care of, man.
Yeah.
But one of my players I had in when I was working with in middle school, man, Royce Ham is one of the players UT. So to see Royce go there that far was like, dope, man. But y'all are the talk of the town, the Big 12, man. So I'm like, dang. I like Shaka Smart a lot too, man. I was like, Baylor? Like, for real?
Having trouble connecting.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Alexa
Take a
doing
look
okay.
at the help section in your Alexa app.
Okay, that was weird. That's the first time that happened. Let me turn that off.
That
Anywho,
was the
that's the Alexa. I got a little freaking Amazon thing, and I guess whatever I said, it makes it sound like Alexa, so she started popping off.
I think that's because you were talking about Texas too much.
Fair enough. All right, man. Let's throw the UT thing to the side, man. So yeah, man. I mean, and you kind of jump into it for me, but you guys had a year that most people wouldn't be able to fathom from the Baylor men's program. Everybody knows out there in Waco, Texas, they know two things. They know David Koresh, and they know Baylor women's basketball. So
Yeah.
I know y'all had a chip on y'all shoulder about changing that narrative, man. I know y'all had that on y'all shoulder.
You know, the crazy part about, I didn't learn this until I got to Baylor, but the crazy part, like David Koresh, the situation didn't even happen in Waco.
It was outside of Waco, yeah.
Yeah, but because all the news reporters would have their hotel room in Waco, they would always say live from Waco.
There you go.
I never knew that. I actually thought it happened in Waco until I got to Baylor and I learned that. But yeah, our women's team, man, I mean, they're elite. And so just seeing them win year in, year out is definitely, you know, something that we strive to do. And so it's not really a competition because we all family.
There you go.
You know, definitely talking to Coach Moki, and then you seeing the confetti every time they win the Big 12, and they win the national championship. It's definitely feel like, okay, it's we not far off. We just need to continue doing what we're doing, and hopefully we can have 2 national championships in basketball.
There you go. And I love where y'all at, man, because I mean, I remember the Patrick Dennehy days. Nobody wants to talk about that. Pretty much the Baylor dead period. Man, one of the cats on the team, Ellis Kidd Jr., man, he was about to transfer to my junior college in Mountain View, which is a D3 JUCO in Oak Cliff, Dallas. And I remember just how good he was, man. But, obviously he couldn't play at Baylor at the time.
Yeah.
Fast forward to more or less the mid-2000s era where you had guys like Ekpe, you had guys like
Quincy Ace.
Quincy Acey, Rogers, he was the 6'9" guy. Y'all had the Australian point guard, kind of like Steve Nash. Y'all had, I can't remember his name.
Yeah, Aaron Bruce. Yeah.
Aaron Bruce. So those guys I played against. And then the Perry Jones era with Pierre Jackson and those guys.
Quincy Miller, yeah.
Quincy Acey, all those guys. Isaiah Austin, 7'1" guy with all the ability. So now y'all are at a new stead where, all those guys are gone. Torian and Prince is gone. It's a whole new era now. And so it's good to see y'all pretty much the best iteration of all these guys I named who are all NBA guys. And y'all like the best version of that. You want to speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, you got Royce O'Neal that, he started for the Jazz.
Yep.
I mean, it's a blessing because all those guys come back every summer and play against our guys. And so to me, that showed me that Baylor's a family because all the guys you name, they all come back. And they come back during the same week. And you got Curtis Geralds, who's in the Hall of Fame at Baylor. Tweety Carter, who's the first McDonald's All-American at Baylor. Terrence Thomas, who actually stayed after the last staff was let go, and he comes back. And so you got a lot of people that, all the players come back, Jonathan Motley, they all come back. And so, a lot of that is we get better because they invest in pouring our guys year round. Like they don't just come back and play, but they text them throughout the entire summer, the whole season. And, it's a big family.
I mean, you know what? And I got that, man. And this is gonna be some random reference, man. I remember, shout out to one of my good friends, Toya Wilson. She always would invite me to Baylor, so I would come out there to Waco. And I remember going to the men's gym and just practicing shooting jumpers. I'm bald headed with a beard, and so one of the current players, I don't know who it was, they were saying,
Can you hear Cliff?
Yeah, you know. Oh, I think that.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you. You hear me?
I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, me neither. All right, but the audience is still here. Is actually the biggest it's been. So, I was just mentioning like
What's up,
me being
audience?
for real though. But I was just mentioning like when Toyel had me shooting in the men's gym and the guys who were on the team at the time, this was about 2 years ago, were thinking I was Quincy Acey. So like I take it. My jumper better than Quincy, but that's about it. That's where it starts to stop. But no, it just speaks to like how tight knit, because they expect to see their own alumni back in there. So I thought that was pretty funny that they thought I was Quincy. You know what I'm saying? Which is kind of showing. Quincy a big dude. All right, yeah. Go ahead, brother.
He a big dude.
He a big dude.
Yeah, he came back and I was like, man, like you that big and you that athletic. It's like wow. Yeah. And so like I think the biggest thing is like they come back and they talk to our guys, man, and like I think about me as a player. I wish that I had somebody that was in the NBA that played at the same school that I played and came back and going through the same thing that I went through. And, they got basically the same head coach, and Coach Tang is still there. So it's still kind of the same coaches. So they know exactly what our current players are going through so they can help them through it.
Yeah. And then that's a beautiful thing. That's the pipeline you want at a successful program. I'm sure Calipari runs his like that. I'm sure Krzyzewski runs his like that. You always will bring guys through to show, hey, this can be your end product. Buy into my system. This is where you can be. And I think that's a beautiful thing having that. And I hope y'all really continue that, because, with Baylor, again, when you're not necessarily at the forefront of the men's program, you can get to that part where you're at the vanguard of the university. And I think y'all got that. Y'all can recruit from Dallas, y'all recruit from Houston, and all in between easily. And you know that.
Yeah. That's our goal. It hadn't been a champion, an NCAA champion from Texas since 1960s maybe.
Man.
I want to say Glory Road, the movie Glory Road, when Texas Western.
Coach Haskell? That's the last one?
Yeah, that's the last one.
Oh, my God. I've never sat down and thought about that.
All the players that came through this state, and that's the last and only NCAA championship, that ain't right. And
that ain't right.
It's our job to try to make sure that our goal is to make sure that we the current Texas champions.
I did not know that, man. Since Coach Haskell, yikes. Okay,
they made a movie about that, so I'm trying to be in the movie. I'm trying to figure out who's gonna play my
part. There we go. I like it, man. So cool. Back. All right, we back. There we go, man.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, yeah, man. So I want to say, so you did a great job of putting that backdrop of what Baylor is now. And so, man, like I know a lot of people are watching and want to understand how the recruiting game goes. And man, like just what should a kid do to get noticed, man? You can go all levels of D1. You can go high major, low major, mid major. What do you think is the best way a kid should go about getting noticed?
I think it's I don't think it's like one particular way, just because there's so many different ways you could get noticed. But I think one thing is like, right now it's tough because so many kids are sending film to where you don't know what film to watch. And so I think that's the toughest part. So if you have a coach that's respectable, then have that coach contact the school, whatever school it may be. And I think something that's like, could be misunderstood is like you don't want your coach sending, a Division I school, 7 guys on your one team.
Yeah.
Because if you got 7 Division I guys on your high school team, then you should win state. And so, like, I think being realistic and like taking your heart out of it and just being honest on, that's like me. If I was to send, I'm cool with a couple NBA scouts. If I send them information about 7 of our guys, they're gonna be thinking like, what are you doing? Like all 7 of these guys can play in the NBA. And so, like Division I, it's only 1% of high school kids get a chance to play Division I.
Bingo.
And so it's hard. It's hard. Like it's not a direct. You gotta do what you can to make sure that you're prepared. But like more importantly, like you gotta perform when the coach's eyes are on you. And so you got to be ready to perform when that coach's eyes on you. It's very few guys, right now, and it's a pandemic, so things are going to be a little different. So kids may get scholarships off of film, but for the most part, coaches want to see you, like because film can't really tell how fast you are, how tall you really are, how you interact with your teammates. Like, we really want to see the everything and not just you dunking in a warm-up line. Like, you're not gonna get many dunks in a Division I basketball game. If you do, you're a pro.
Absolutely.
And so we don't care about your dunks in a warm-up.
So true. Man, and so I got a great question, man, from one of my viewers, Chad, man. He was asking, so what makes a respectable coach to you from the under levels?
Somebody that has told me about players and their eyes was what they really said the player was.
Okay.
A lot of guys will tell you about a player and then you go watch them and they're not very good. And so to me, it's just like, all right, now how can I trust them for the next kid?
Exactly.
And so I tell our players all the time, like, I'm not going to lie to an NBA scout about you, because if I lie to them about you and they don't trust me anymore, now the next kid that really deserved that opportunity, he's not going to get a fast shake because they ain't going to listen to me.
Absolutely.
And so it got to be the same thing for a high school AAU coach. If you really feel like that kid could play at whatever school that is, then say that. And then, but if you're wrong, you got to know that coach is going to be looking at you sideways when you bring somebody that really, really can play at that level. And now the coach may be like, man, he just trying to help his kids.
Yeah, and I think it's a great balance. I mean, because you serving 2 masters. Like as a high school coach, all your parents are on your ass about, okay, you ain't trying to get my kid in this program, because every kid think they're good enough for Baylor. Let's keep it funky.
Yeah.
So you gotta have that discernment to like, yo, listen, hey, I know you want to go to Baylor, but Baylor ain't for you. Here's what's for you. So I think that's what you're saying with the respectability is understand, like, yeah, they're probably being overzealous because the parents are forcing them to be so, but you still got to have your mind together to be like, okay, if I'm going to put myself out there, I'm going to put myself out there for the right kid. Because some kid that's going to burn the bridge.
Yeah, you got to. I mean, you can't like oversell somebody. Yeah. Like I always I undersell, and hopefully that the players that I coach over deliver. And so now the next chance, like Wesley Awandu from Houston.
Mm-hmm.
I told the NBA scout when he was a freshman that I say, man, this kid got a chance to be a pro. All he got to do this, and this throughout his career. He's going to be a pro. And I told 2 NBA teams that, and they reminded me that when I got to Baylor, when I left K-State. They reminded me that I told them that. And because Wesley plays for the Orlando Magic, now when those 2 teams call me, what you think they're going to do when I say this the next one?
They're going to listen to you.
They're going to listen. They're going to listen. So that's what you got to, as coaches, like, you got to sell your kids straight. And if your kid ain't good enough, I mean, you got to be the man enough to tell them, like, man, this is what we need to do before I contact them.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to kill a kid dream and say, no, you're not good enough to play there ever. because everybody develop in stages, but at the same time, you want to be like, man, if you want to play there, you see they guards got to do this or they bigs got to do this. So we got to make sure that we work with you. Then we'll contact them.
I think that's important, man, because at the end of the day, man, like you say, though, it's the 1% represents Division I basketball. And you take that 1% that made it that far, it's another 1% that represents professional basketball. So you got to keep it G with these young men, because it's like, listen, man, some of y'all gonna be future Taco Bell workers, some of y'all gonna be future grocery car pushers, some of y'all gonna work at FedEx, some of y'all gonna be great teachers, some of y'all gonna be your impact on the world may not necessarily be basketball, and you need to be okay with that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody said this because everybody thinks they NBA or bust. I mean, Alvin, at one point, bro, I thought I was gonna be. I laugh at this now, thinking I was gonna be, you know, a NBA draft selection, being a 1-year letterman in high school, bro. I mean, I played Division I.
I thought I was too. I went to Idaho State, and I was like, man, I'm gonna go to Idaho State. I'm gonna kill. I'm gonna be player of the year. I'm out.
It's always like to humble a lot of coaches, like, you know, because I mean, sometimes in the realm, especially when you get the high major, you get a little self-righteous. I mean, obviously so, because you get a lot of junk that comes your way. So obviously you learn to be immune to it. But when you understand the mind of an 18-year-old, it's all over the place. Like, I thought I was going to Texas A&M. I thought, you know, hey, I'm a 1-year letterman. I average like 5 points, 6 rebounds, but that's enough. You know, coach at the time, it was my boy Watkins. I was like, Watkins should know that though. You know,
nah, you're right. You're right.
That's how I go. This is before the YouTube era, so I obviously was not putting my film out there like that. But in my dumb 18-year-old mind, I mean, I guess I'll settle for A&M if the Rockets don't want to get me.
But but I think it's like, you know, it's crazy that we talking about this, but I mean, it's the truth. Like, I feel like, you know, if you look around, it's like they the man at whatever high school that they at.
Yeah.
And so when you the man and you walking around your high school like you the man, you don't know nothing else. And so now when you come to college and now you ain't the man and somebody going at your head, you don't even know how to react. And most of the time, that's how most kids end up not even being successful in basketball, because the perseverance of going through adversity when you first get on the college campus is the key. Yeah, because you went from being the best player to now you ain't the best player because you playing against some guys that grown men.
And I'll take it a step further, man. What a lot of people don't understand is like, okay, you may be the man where you at out here in who knows what Texas, who knows what Idaho, who knows what Indiana. But when you come there, maybe you put up 28 a game, which is good. I mean, you average 28 points a game, that's impressive. But I'm not bringing you to Baylor to be a 28 per game scorer. I need a defender. So explain a little bit about how people understand how positions need to be filled, and everybody. It's not enough basketballs to go around, so everybody to average what they average in high school.
Man, I just think, I mean, if you look at, hopefully a lot of people really paid attention to The Last Dance when Dennis Rodman came on. And he talked about how he went to the gym, and me and my dad was talking about this yesterday, how he went to the gym and his friend shot the ball and he rebounded for him just so he could learn the trajectory of the ball.
Yes.
Like, nobody's doing that.
Nobody's doing that.
And you know, we talk to our players about the 95%. So if you play basketball, you're gonna have the ball in your hands 95. I mean, you're not gonna have the basketball in your hands 95% of the game.
Absolutely.
So now what are you gonna do to help us win? Because if you play 24 minutes, you're probably gonna have the ball in your hands less than 2 minutes. So what you doing the other 22 minutes to help us win? And so that's how we talk to our guys. We actually show them the numbers. And so that really helps our guys understand that it's more than just shooting the ball.
That's a great point, man. And having played in 2 Division I programs, nobody ever broke it down to me like that. I guess me just intrinsically understood that, okay, all right, obviously I can't.
Yeah.
There's only so much possessions in a basketball game, but I think that's brilliant that y'all jumping ahead of that and giving them – because, I mean, some people are like, they're more or less what's the word that they're tactile learners. Like they gotta see the stuff in their face and to understand it, because you can say it, but it means nothing. But if you break it down to them, like, listen, you have the ball in your hand for 2 minutes in a given basketball game. What you doing with that 2 minutes? And more importantly, as to your point, what are you doing with the rest of those minutes? And I think they will break that down to so many kids to understand that, yeah, that's cool. You got that mixtape. That's cool. You dropped this a game, but I'm recruiting 10 other guys who can do what you can do. So what do you do differently?
Yeah, and talking to an NBA guy, like obviously we got a couple guys testing the waters and a couple seniors, and like their biggest thing is they want to talk about being efficient, because you're not gonna get that many shots in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if one of our players get drafted by the Lakers, you ain't getting more shots than LeBron and more shots than Anthony Davis.
Not happening.
So now, yeah, so you ain't getting more shots than Kyle Kuzma. So
Not
now,
happening.
when you do get a shot, if you get 5 shots, how many can you make on a consistent night if you only get 5 shots? And I actually just seen like it was circling around and somebody on our staff sent it, but like this said that 54% of NBA players attempt less than 5 field goals per game. That's over half that attempt less than 5 shots per game. And you got kids that think they're going to come in college and shoot 30. Like, it ain't happening. Not on a winning team. It ain't happening.
Nah, that's a great call out, man. Because again, some people need to understand, like for those who didn't play or coach on this level, it is extremely hard. I want y'all to understand this. Like, even the worst player on the bench on whatever team, name the team, Monmouth, Austin P, Southern University, Prairie View A&M. The worst player on that team will probably bust your ass. I want y'all to understand that. And the issue is, to you to be able to get to play is you got to optimize all these. You got to check all these boxes. You got to be able to be usable in more ways than just your scoring talent. And so for you box score watchers, I really want y'all to understand. And I saw Terry EJ talk about Torian Prince. Great example of that. He knows his space on the floor. He knows his role. He's going to go hard. But again, he's not the best player. He won't be the best player on any team he plays for. No. And that's okay.
That's okay. But he's going to help him win. And he got generational money right now.
And there it goes. Off of being a role player. And that's okay.
Yeah. 85%. Dale Harris came and spoke to us. And he talked about 85% of the NBA are role players. And so you can say 85 to 90% are role players. And then the other one, that means they all interchangeable.
Yeah.
And then the other guys are superstars. Like, that's going to be hard to replace them and win. But the other guys are replaceable. Like if you look at LeBron went to the finals that many years, but he replaced a lot of different people around him throughout those years.
Absolutely.
But when he left,
it's done.
It was done. The finals was done. So that shows you, like, it's not that many like guys that's like that. So what are you going to do to make sure that you're able to show that you're an elite role player?
I agree with that, man. And some people, again, and I like to set that backdrop because some people don't understand that level. Like, they'll laugh at like a Brian Scalabrine rather, or like I'll go even as low as my man's on ESPN, Ryan Hollins, who always talks all this stuff. I mean, you can say what you want to say. Ryan Hollins will bust your ass. He's 7'1", athletic. You know what I'm saying?
I joke around with our players every now and then. And, I'll just be like trying to make a fake move on them, and they'll just rip me real quick. Like I act like I'm guarding them. They'll just try to throw it between my legs or something. And you be like, oh, it's different. It's different.
Yeah.
Like, rest in peace, Kobe. But like Kobe told people need to go watch Kobe play against Bow Wow Homeboy on YouTube.
Oh my God, I remember that.
Oh, he like just embarrassed him, and then he said it's a lot different watching a great white shark swim on the Discovery Channel than I swim with him. That line has stuck with me forever after he said that. I said, wow, that's true.
It's so true. And the guy, and so if y'all don't know the background of this video, man, that is so true, bro. Bow Wow's partner was 6'6", Kobe Bryant 6'6". He's like, oh man, my partner will watch you. Blah, 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 blah. Kobe looked at him like, boy, come on, bring him over here.
Bring him over here. and killed that poor kid.
Killed him. Like they're the same size. Kobe treating this man like Shaq in the post. And he's like, why you keep posting up? He's like, because I'm going to post you up because you little. Like, it just shows you that mentality on that high level. Like, you're not about to tell me how to play you. I'm gonna kill you. You're gonna get off my court and it won't be no discussion no more about it.
Yeah, it's different, man. It's different, man.
Absolutely. So, bro, we talked about the positives. We talked about what coaches looking for. Because I know a lot of parents are watching this and they, everybody thinks their kids are the greatest thing since sliced bread. What bad things are kids doing out here? I mean, I know y'all look at they social medias. You look at all that stuff they put out. What kind of stuff should kids not be doing to begin looked at by these teams?
I think social media is important just because, you shouldn't be cursing. You shouldn't have rap music that's cursing. You shouldn't have like explicit pictures. Those things that they don't realize, but most schools have people that actually check their social medias before they can even sign.
Yep. And
we've had a kid that we've had coming on campus. They went all the way back to like 2013 where they found something on one of their Twitters. And it wasn't even something that they tweeted, but it was something that they retweeted.
Mm-hmm.
And so little things like that, like you just need to be proactive and like having your page private. Like I even tell our players, like, does LeBron have his page private? Steph Curry page private? Or Kevin Durant page private? Like, no. Like, in order to get sponsorships, you got to have your page open and you got to post stuff that's going to help you gain money. So as a high school kid, your goal is to get a college scholarship, which is like sponsorship. And so now what are you doing to make yourself stand out? If your son and my son both have about the same skill set, then what is one of them doing to separate themselves to that university? Like, we gonna look at the grades, because if we don't want no headaches, man. Like it's hard to coach kids that you got to walk to class every day.
Word up.
Like that. I mean, that ain't life. That ain't real life. If we got to walk you to class every day, you got to be a difference maker.
Like, you better be our second of best player on the team for sure.
Yeah, you gotta be like that guy that's gonna help us win games.
Absolutely.
Like you that talented. But if you a guy that's not like that and we got to walk you to class, you ain't gonna be at that school very long. So you got to be somebody that's held accountable. And then for me personally, I feel like if they have a family to where if they struggling with anything and you could call that family and that kid is like scared of somebody in their family or scared of a coach, then they got a chance to make it. But if it's nobody that they afraid of disappointing, then it's going to be hard for them to make it.
It's harder for the buy-in. I get that.
Yeah, just because if like, it was my family, like if I got in trouble and you called my family, I was scared. So I was going to make sure that I didn't do that.
You straighten up.
But I've coached a couple kids to where like, they ain't afraid of nobody at home and no coach. So now who do you call to help get them on the right track?
Exactly. So y'all, that's a gym. So if y'all wondering, y'all got these these kids out of control, man. Listen, man, coaches are looking at stuff like that, man. So understand, man, your kid has to be able to answer to somebody, man. And unless you were some game changer where, I mean, I've seen it happen, you'll put up with the ends of the earth. But for the most part, your kid better be a game changer. I know you lying to yourself to say my kid is a game changer.
but even then, though, you don't want to deal with it, man.
I agree.
Like, even then, like you want to make sure that your son or your daughter is coachable. Like I laugh, I have a 4-year-old son, a 5-year-old son, and people call me all the time, and I just laugh and say, man, they ain't real coachable right now. I'm trying, I want to make sure they're coachable by the time they're older. But so it's the same thing as adults. Like, even as an assistant coach, if every time Coach Drew asks me to do something, and if I don't do it, I'm not gonna have a job very long. So why should it be different for a kid?
Thanks.
And so like, and you know, we want to raise our young men like we would raise our own kids. And so to me, that's important. Like if you put your son with a staff that is going to allow your son to get away with a lot of stuff, then when they get into the real world, it's going to eat them up because they're going to have bad habits.
Mm-hmm.
So we try to make sure that we help build our guys' habits to where when they go in the real world, they have championship habits to survive in life.
I like that. I like that, and I think anything. And man, and one thing I would impart on my kids when I did, you know, obviously a lower level, is like, listen, man, you're gonna be a grown man at some point. Like this district championship you chasing. Listen, it don't mean nothing to me, and in 10 years it won't mean nothing to you either. You need to understand what it's gonna take you to get to that next level and be a productive member of society, man. That's the big picture, especially being a you know, quote unquote person of color, what have you, man. You got to understand that the game gonna get real on you real quick. And so I appreciate brothers like yourself who imparting that same wisdom on kids, because I'm gonna get locked in on just me right now, this situation. All y'all not going to NBA, man. It's not happening. You got to be a productive member of society outside of you, who you are right now from 18 to 22 years old. You know?
Yeah. That's what, I mean, we actually have NBA guys come talk to our guys and show them the stats of, you know, how hard it is to make it. And even all these mock drafts, how inaccurate the mock drafts are.
Yeah.
And so our goal is to educate them. And, it's, you know, obviously it's up to them at the end and their families to make the decision. But we go above and beyond to make sure that we prepare them for everything that they're going to face.
There you go. And salute to y'all staff for doing that, man. Because, I mean, not saying that some people are not doing it, or maybe they're just not as cognizant of that effect. That's why you see some guys really fall off really hard, because they promise the world, but you're not giving the real. Yeah. And so I think that's a real important thing of your coaching staff to prepare you for life beyond just, you know, the promise of probably going pro. So I salute up for the whole staff on that. And so before we go, man, AB, I want to ask you, man, so y'all had this prominent year, man. And again, the world's taking notice, and I'm sure as you know that many times over. Man, so what do you see? You know, y'all only losing about 3 seniors, you know, this coming year. What do y'all see y'all being next year, man?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the last part.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. So I know y'all only losing about 3 seniors this year. And so I know y'all guys had this crazy breakout year. So with y'all nucleus that y'all coming back, y'all 2 top scorers are coming back. Well, unless they declare for draft, I don't know. You maybe know something I don't know. But the team intact as they, you know, are to be, as we know. You know, what do you see you guys doing next year?
Well, actually, you know, I think it all depends on, you know, we're losing 2 seniors and Freddie Gillespie and Devontae Bandu, who was, you know, they was very instrumental into our success this year. And so to lose them, it'll be, you know, tough to replace them. But next year, we depending on, you know, Jared Butler is testing the waters, and then Maceo Teague is testing the water. So, you know, a lot depends on what those 2 guys decide. So we probably won't know until, you know, they have to June 3rd to make a decision. But, you know, obviously if those guys decide to come back, then that's 4 starters back. And, you know, 4 starters back on the historic team. I like our chances.
Absolutely.
But, you know, if those guys, you know, happen to make a decision to go to the NBA, and then, you know, which is possible, then we'll have 2 starters back. And then we have a couple guys sitting out that's really talented. And then we have a couple guys that played last year that, you know, depending on when we can start working out, you know, hopefully they continue to get better than what they were last year. So we should have experience no matter what. So, like, with the pandemic, nobody can get a leg up on nobody right now. So with the experience, we should be all right. We'll be top 5 and probably everybody poll, top 5 in the country and everybody poll.
That's what I like to see, man. I know everywhere you've been, AB, it's been success going. And then before we peace out, just tell me about, you know, 1 or 2 players you think have been your favorite players to coach, man, for whatever reason. It can be just because they're the most team-oriented guy. It can be just the best player. What's 2 guys that stand out to you, man, that you've coached? You can give me one if it's a little tough. Give me one.
That's tough. I've been blessed to be around a lot of good players, and so I would say one. If I had to pick one, Rodney Magruder at Kansas State. Just because I never seen a kid that competitive, but was such a great kid. He plays for the Los Angeles Clippers now, and to this day, like if I text him right now, he'll respond back within 5 minutes. But he was so competitive to where he was losing in a sprint. He missed the line on purpose because he knew we would make him do it over again. I've never seen that in my life. And the whole team knew he missed it on purpose. And that's the reason why we tied Kansas for the Big 12 championship that year, because he was that competitive. So I would have to say him just because of who he was and, how I seen him interact with the players, and him just basically if a player was talking back, him challenging them to not do that, and they just, immediately stopped. And so, because of that, I'll probably say him when you look at everything that he did for us that season.
And it's, for those who don't understand, it is imperative to have those kind of kids in your program who can control the minutia that's going on with what's going on with your team, who can police what's going on, because it's nothing worse than having a team where nobody can police the team, and it's just a free fall, and it is a headache and a pain, and you know what, for the whole year long.
Yes.
So it's good to have a Rodney Magruder on your team. Okay, I like it. Okay, man, AB, man, this has been great speaking with you, man. You dropped a lot of nuggets, man, for those who have an aspiration to have athletes go to that next level. I mean, you coached all levels, and so you definitely know the spectrum from the low major to the, the lower divisions to the highest of the upper crust. So that's why I thought it was important to have you on here, man. And so I really appreciate your perspective on that, man. So before we peace out, man, tell everybody how they can reach you on social media and tell about your own podcast you got, man.
Yeah, we had this. I think I know what you're saying. You was breaking up at the end, but I think I know what you're saying.
Okay, my bad.
Nah, you good. So you asked about the Zoom calls?
Yeah, I was just saying how I'll talk about your other thing you got going, and then tell people how they can reach you on social media.
So you can reach me. I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Coach_AB and the number 3. And so actually, my pops coach Damon Jones. I'm not that old.
I'm about to say Damon a little old, man. I was gonna
D Jones, that's my boy though.
So
I was always around. Yeah, I was always around, but I ain't coach him. But he's still family though. But yeah, I'm at Coach_AB3 on Twitter and Instagram, and so I need to get my followers up. I don't even know how many followers I got, but it's always.
Hey man, you got the blue check, man. You got the blue check. I ain't trying to hear that, bro. I'm trying to get my blue check on, man.
You about to get it, bro. You doing great things, man. I love what you're doing for our community. Even though you moved to Cali, still like what you're doing for our community, and so appreciate you and everything you do, bro. Get your flowers at the same time.
There you go, man. There you go. Tie it all back together, man. So I love it, man. So
I was telling my wife what you're doing and how how great of a job it is to, you bring all the sports, and then you got the funny jokes within it too. So it kind of ties everything together.
I'm gonna have that. I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that, man. So yeah, man. So all y'all tune in, man. Thank y'all for the questions. I know some of y'all couldn't get to because y'all was kind of rapid firing them. So yeah, man, we gotta have AB back on the thing again, man. We'll work around and make that happen. And so, man, thank you so much, brother. Till next time, peace.
I appreciate it, bro.
Yes, sir.